can start with that then. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
We're bagging on the Colorado Springs Reddit.
The Colorado Springs subreddit, man. I have made. You were already familiar with this?
It was the only subreddit that I was actually subscribed to for a long time before I self-exiled myself from the shithole that is known as Reddit. So
you're familiar with the
I gotta be honest with you, I haven't read it since way before George Floyd, so I have no idea what's happened to him.
And to tell you, I think they were make-pretend revolutionaries back then too, but
They might have been.
perhaps not to the same extent that they are these days.
So what are we trying to overthrow? The system, America, God.
Yes.
We should all have free healthcare and walkable states. Are they those people, Jeff?
Of course they're those
Okay.
people. I would argue. Listen. There's no way to prove it per se. I don't know how many of these people actually live here. I understand that a lot of the moderation teams for subreddits don't actually like r/Denver. I understand a lot of the mods aren't from Denver. I mean, it's now the Denver one I dove into.
So you're in Denver and you work the JV circuit for all.
What I don't, Patrick, I don't know if they sort of like subdivide it by nation or like
Okay.
by geography. If they're like, all right, well, you know what, you're in Albuquerque, so you're going to work this corridor north. You're going to go all the way to
Raton, whatever.
yeah. What would that be? If you took Albuquerque just straight north, did this column, that would give you what, like part of like Montana and.
Just straight north?
Yeah.
Like a stripe painted across the country?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, you get a little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
you get Colorado, Wyoming, Montana.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and maybe a little Scotia, Texas. So just the tip. Down there at El Paso.
That's okay, yeah, I could see it, yeah. And that's, so the thing that these guys were moaning and groaning about was, I guess we approved recreational marijuana?
We did. So yeah, that one took a while to count, but when it came in, it was actually outside of our margin of error for recount. So apparently we approved it, and the city council decided to pull a bait and switch like maybe 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where they said, well, the ballot measure wasn't very clear, so we're going to put it on the April ballot. All right. Which means about 5 fucking people will vote. So
I get
that's our mayor election when they do the off, in April. So like nobody ever votes for mayor.
Yeah, that was a wacky thing because I don't even remember that being on the ballot. I don't remember us. Yeah.
Recreational marijuana was on the ballot. I did vote against it. I think you voted for it when we went through our ballots.
I don't recall.
So I recall you voting against all the female judges. That did happen.
It was far too overrepresented. I mean, I'm sorry. There were way too many for any sort of balance that it was.
You're not voting for all of them at the same time, bro. So those are just the ones that happened to come up this year.
Next time around, I'll look. And again, if it's, I told you this back then. If I look at it next time, right, and
it doesn't matter. I mean, like.
Not a one was ousted anyway.
No, I've only ever seen that happen once, and it was because I think that judge went to jail. So
that's how far it had to go.
It had to go that far before someone was like, "Oh, okay, well, we got to vote this dude out," so or something like that.
All right.
It was pretty egregious. I don't know if they actually went to jail, but they were involved in some humongous lawsuit. Some kind of shenanigans. So.
Something that's dunk.
Enough to the point in time where the Bar Association actually wrote a thing that said, do not vote for this guy.
Wow.
So that was a while ago.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but no, recreational marijuana was on there. Local stuff. That was like the big one that was local. Well, I mean, there's some state shit in there. So gun taxes went up. There's a couple other things. That. Yeah, I totally voted against that. So, but it passed. What else?
Well, let's see. The other thing that they were bitching about, I've made exactly one post in there, and it started with the words "attention assholes." So I'll
So it's been banned already, huh?
I didn't get banned. It's just that I had to straighten some people out where you guys have used the word fascist no more than like 1,500 times in this topic. None of you know what it means.
No.
So let me straighten you out on this here. And just because, listen, just because Wikipedia says it is a far right movement, it does not mean it's a far. It can be far right. It can be far left.
Yeah.
The cornerstones of it are dictatorial behavior, heavy nationalism on the verge of
Nationalism,
worship.
authoritarianism, and a partner between business and the state. So
There you go. Can there be left-wing versions of this? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
The ones that fucking, ate my family's land. Yes.
Well, those were straight up communists. So that's a different flavor. So
I argue, look, when it comes down to it, if you say, like, you can come down to it and say, like, fascism comes in two flavors. You can say which one's the genus and the species. I don't think you can divorce totalitarianism, communism from fascism because it comes with a worship.
No, I think they're different. So
I think they can be.
I think they're fundamentally
I
different.
think they can be, but
so because one of them,
there's no party dissension in a fascist state.
but you never see like a fascist state is never led by people who are not in the ruling class. So there's
But they are the ruling class.
well, yeah, but fascism is a way to actually cement that position. So
Okay, so my point on this is where I say, like,
communism and fascism are both bad. Okay, so but like labeling both of them the same thing does not make them double bad.
No.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they don't have to be, but I think it lends itself to very, very easy.
I think they both have authoritarianism, which is the thing that's really the key. Although in theory you could have a socialist or a communist state that was democratic. We just
You
never
absolutely
seen one
could. That's what I'm saying. Is that's where I draw the distinction here. And in those cases, I tend to look at the worship of the state a little bit higher in terms of again, there's certain things where you have heavy nationalism to the point where it's almost the state religion.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Well, I think that like as far as fascism go, we've only had like 3 ever.
like bona fide,
Right,
Like
yeah.
straightforward,
I mean, one of the guys who invented fascism, he got strung up by piano wire.
right?
The other guy blew his brains out, and the other guy remained in charge of Spain for like 40 years. He was like, whoa. It is just fascism, man. I mean, we don't. There's no death camps here. So- And I guess there was a guy in Argentina that could qualify sort of for a bit. So maybe.
I think it just depends on where you want to put your thumb on the scale. I mean,
Right.
if you choose, my whole argument on this is it depends on which aspects of it you choose to weigh a little bit more heavily.
Okay.
So depending on, but that's the thing is to take the definition of it and say that, for example, Donald Trump is a fascist.
Donald Trump is not a fascist.
He is not a fascist, and it's embarrassing for you to say that.
He's just mad that he's president.
That's correct.
Yeah,
I
that's
understand.
okay.
I
That's okay.
understand. But what you have to
allowed to be
understand
mad.
is the problem with this is that when you get into those places that are policed by the lunatics that they are, what happens is there are things that they accept as fact. They say that when people tell them to like chill the fuck out, they're like, how can you chill out when there's fascism in the White House?
Fascism in the White House right now. Rawr.
This is indisputable.
Right.
You can't argue about it when one person's argument is we just want to be left alone, and the other person is we want all of your kind to be eradicated. Like, okay, this is why Reddit is what it is.
Dude, it's a shithole.
It is absolutely a shithole.
And it's not full of like little bolt holes like Discord,
No,
where you have to literally stick your finger into it
that is
in
correct.
order to find all the bugs.
to Discord's, yeah, exactly. To Discord's rocks, which all have centipedes under them. You'll
They really do.
There's none of these where you're like, oh, it's a Smurf village. No, it's all
Yeah.
small bugs with pincers and shit.
And stingers. Yeah. Way too many legs. It's like
But-
way more than 6.
Yeah, but yeah, sometimes you'll come across you'll turn over a very libertarian rock.
Oh, in Discord?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
On rare occasions, yes.
I think I belong to a total of 2 of them now, and they're both related to games. So,
They could
and not
be
even like
absolute
general
worst,
games. They're
man, no?
no, man. I mean, these are like really niche kind of little things when I'm following their dev stuff. You know, so there's probably like maybe 20 guys on the whole thing. So it's not one of these enormous discords where people, you know, put the wavy hands and all that shit. You know?
I'm telling you, man, those small discords can be disrupted and infected very easily.
I was on a train one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it was
you were.
awful.
Yeah, you've been on the front lines for it. That's
I've
right.
been on the front lines of the train wars.
Right.
So yeah.
I just don't know. What I don't understand is so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but model trains, and things like this, but train games, I feel like those things, if you're into it, you have to have sort of a love and appreciation for a certain time in American history,
Oh yeah.
or
I mean,
aesthetic at least. I don't know.
sometimes, or otherwise you just. I mean, you know, you can play modern stuff too. So you know, and people want to know exactly
true.
what's
All
going on right now. So it's more simulation, like. You know, things like that. Like, I've been playing one for a long time that was written by a couple guys who obviously work for a railroad because they got it right. So, and it's got this really... Well, you know
That's why.
what they got right about it is they like to pick on people who like trains. So, and if you work on a railroad, you do that. You know?
Are there certain, I don't want to say uniform or universal, but certain personalities that tend to gravitate or emerge from train jobs? Like you find certain kinds of people.
No. I mean, but no.
All right.
It's just blue collar. So yeah, no different than airport workers and stuff. So. No, it's not like we're in an oil rig where, you know, you have to practice your overt racism when they let you out of place. You know?
I don't know if you have to practice it. I think it just comes naturally. I think it's when you come back to quote unquote the world that
right, yeah.
you have to
Come
just
back
throw
from
those
that
things
side of the
away.
moon. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to remember that when you talk to people. When you tell your real estate agent why you don't want to live on this side of town, you just say, like, well, I don't like the schools.
Yeah.
Instead of what you're actually... Right.
Yeah. You check out Zillow. The school got a 2.5. So,
And you leave it at that. You don't investigate.
Right,
You just
yeah.
say, like, why is that school? Why is Mitchell having such a rough time lately?
yeah. Man, that's a school I haven't been in a long time. I think I took my SATs there. In fact,
I know I did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So,
In fact, I think that was the only place to take it
you might be right.
for a while.
Yeah.
Except, okay, so actually that's not true. Mitchell was a place to take it. I knew people who took it a second time and they ended up going somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
It was like a smaller place because it wasn't going to be, you weren't going to walk, a couple hundred students into there.
Yeah.
It was just like a small, like, testing center for people who were like,
Oh, okay.
I think I can do better.
I think, yeah. I did tests at a couple different facilities. I'm pretty sure that when I went to take the place exam, that was at someone out west, Coronado. So of all things,
Brother,
yeah.
I took it in northern Colorado because that was...
Yeah, I remember that. Was your brother getting married?
Yeah. The only time I could take that test was
Right.
the morning of my brother's wedding.
Yeah. Hey, you still made it.
Yeah, I did. I was very close to being late.
You were very close to being late, so I do recall that.
There are things that in hindsight, well, not in hindsight, but going forward, that I'm glad have changed a little bit. So going to that park, number one, I'm glad there's a Starlink now going into that park because there was no phone reception to be had in that area.
Oh, are you on that T-Mobile thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Did you have to do anything special for it?
My understanding is I don't have to. It's just whether or not you're part of it. You have a phone that's capable of it.
Oh, I don't know if I do.
You do not.
I do not. My phone is way too ancient.
Your phone is a little bit too. I checked.
okay.
I thought mine was going to be the cutoff. In fact, I didn't think mine was going to make it, but mine was like the last one in.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I'm probably due up for a new phone in the next 2 years.
You are. It's just.
Hey, man, it still works.
Exactly.
Yeah, it still
well,
works.
you don't.
And I don't go anywhere where I don't get cell phone coverage anyway. So
There's that, but the other component is there's nothing that you seem to want to, like, you're not playing games on it. You're not doing. I don't see you doing any of the things where people say I have to update my phone because of this.
nope.
Right.
Nope. I read Twitter, respond to emails, and ignore phone calls. I found. So that's about it.
It's about where I am too, man.
Sometimes I'll watch YouTube before I go to bed. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I've got all my audiobooks too. So there you go. So
The tech hasn't changed. I mean, you don't need to.
no.
You don't need to bump up the processor
no.
significantly for audiobooks. So
No. So
you're fine.
it has excess capacity.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
No, you had a work thing this week, right?
Yeah. So we've got a hiring committee, and part of the responsibilities of being that is to play nice to incoming candidates and go out to dinner or whatever.
Really?
As needed, yeah. So, well, they don't want, like, they'll plan a dinner, but then if, like, nobody shows up, it's kind of lame. So...
You're right.
It doesn't really make a candidate feel particularly welcome if you do that. So,
Well, is that the purpose? Are you actually trying to welcome the candidates?
yeah, we actually want a good one. So, who's not going to immediately quit. So,
Are there problems with that?
we've had a lot of problems with that. So, we've had a lot of problems with that. So, but that's what I was doing on Wednesday. And then, I had something else going on. What was it? I don't remember.
On Wednesday?
No. This weekend.
Well, okay, so I'm going to scratch off, like, kids' school stuff.
No kid school stuff.
Because I remember that you said, like, I'm free Friday, but then I was like, you shouldn't be. I think that's Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's what it was Valentine's Day. I mean,
Yeah.
I made an absolutely fantastic steak. So
Just one for you?
no, I mean, I let her pick the one that she wanted first.
All right.
So, but I've actually been doing this thing lately where I'm making, like, pan sauces. And they are wonderful.
With wine?
With all kinds of stuff. So the one that I made the other day was with white wine and beef broth and a little bit of garlic, a little bit of shallot. And it was delicious.
Now, tell me, okay, you're deglazing it off of after you cook it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's where there's so much flavor in that.
It's crazy how good that shit is. So
And this is the funny thing about it is it is why the grilled steak is so inferior, because that
way inferior.
completely inferior.
Way inferior.
That stuff goes straight into the fire.
Yeah, no,
Right.
you need that, man. I mean, I would put it on the grill, but in a pan.
Right. That is, you know what? Actually, you make a good point, because there is something to be said about, like, especially if you cook hot, let that smoke go out outside instead of.
Oh yeah, I can't cook. Like if I'm cooking anything on a ripping hot skillet, it's outside. So
That makes sense.
That's like burgers. So steaks, I don't even cook them on ripping hot. I cook them on medium. So
Depends on how long you want to give the side. Yeah. Well, actually, it's about the center of it. It's
Totally
really
about
about
the
how
center.
you like the center of
Yeah.
it. You don't like it as raw as I do, I think.
no, but I've gotten better about that. I'm about a medium rare guy. So I'm not a full rare, but medium rare. So I cook my steaks exactly to about 125. And for a while, I used to have a thermometer, but now I can just poke it and tell kind of where it's at.
The thermometer says medium is 160, I think.
That's bullshit. That's burnt. You know?
It says well done is 175.
Fuck that. Yeah. No. So, no, 125 on a steak. So,
It's fine.
it's great.
It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, 125 on a steak, and you pull it off and let it rest for about 10 minutes, and gives you more than enough time to make a really badass pan sauce. So,
Well, you got to clean it up anyway.
Gotta clean it up
that's the
anyway,
thing
man.
is, yeah, so you throw in some kind of fluid.
yep,
Typically, wine if you got it.
wine or some kind of stock, and then I've made
Yeah.
one with cream that was fantastic.
Oh, I never even tried that.
Oh yeah, it was like
That didn't stick to the pan though.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No.
Did you
So,
just keep it moving or what?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And you cook that on like medium low. So you just boil it a little bit.
So you just go straight to like a really like slow.
Just a real slow boil
Yeah.
on that, and it takes about 4 or 5 minutes to make one of those.
Your meat's got to rest anyway.
Meat's got to rest anyway.
And there is a difference.
Totally a difference, yeah.
I know that sounds crazy, but
No, totally a difference. It actually allows your steak to like, it's going to be the same temperature throughout, you know, because like otherwise if you eat it right away and you slice it open, first of all, it gushes all them great juices off there, and you need to pour those into the pan sauce.
right.
You know, so then like the outside will be, you know, crispy and toasty, and the inside will still be a little bit, you know, so you gotta let it rest, man. No, I've got this steak thing kind of down, man. I've tried a lot of different methods. I used to do reverse sear in the oven. Now I do it all in the pan, but then I finish it in the oven. So
Do that too.
yeah. So that's just if it's not where I want it to be. So, you know, but like it's really easy. I do the same thing when I make pork chops now. So is I'll just fry one side, flip them over, throw them in the oven, let the other side sear while it's in the oven. It'll come out almost perfect every time. So
Hey, dude, I got I had friends that I was out there with them, and we experimented with sous vide.
yeah,
And
I have the
the pot for it, and the
I don't have any of the bags, but I do have the settings on my
okay.
Instapot to be able to do that. So I've never tried it,
we've messed with it. I mean, the
but your shit's like gray, isn't it? So you got to sear it anyway.
yeah, you do.
Yeah, okay,
It's,
yeah.
Again, this is the thing. We experimented with it, and it was. I did not notice that much of a difference. If you were to sit me down at a table and blindfold me and say which one of these was
Oh yeah,
like, I can't tell you.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I've never done that. So I know my mother-in-law has. So, but
And to their credit, if you get to the point where you can, if there's something about it where I probably don't think it would be taste, I bet you it'd be texture or something like that, or something like that, where you notice the difference, like more power to you. But the only thing I can tell you to not do is take a good steak and cook it on a grill. That is
you're gonna burn the shit out of it, and it's gonna Jeff, the only thing, I don't even want grill marks on anything anymore. So, like, if I don't need a new grill, but if I were to get one, it would be a flat top grill.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I was actually, I took my mom over to Lowe's last week, and they had, you know, all the grills out there wheeled outside, and here it is, like, fucking 45 degrees below zero. So, you know, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, $6.99 for this motherfucker. Oh, fuck, it's cold.
I was gonna say, which day of the week did you go? Because one of those days it was like 55 degrees out. And
it was the day after. It was the day after the sun set on the other side of the moon. You know,
because the day before I was out there like taking my jacket off in the fucking doctor's office. I'm like, man, it's hot. Like, fucking summer came in early this year, and then by the time I'm driving home, like snowflakes are hitting the ground. Like, this is ridiculous.
it was that day.
But
Yeah.
it was $6.99 for a flat top.
Something like that, yeah. So it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but it ain't free either. I mean, it's
Free, yeah. No, we'll see.
Would you use it? I mean, that's.
I don't know if I would use it that much. I actually have a Lodge griddle, the like a cast iron griddle that's about this. It's about the size of a cookie sheet. So I just throw that on my grill, and then, you know, I make burgers on that and shit. So, because burgers, I mean, like, I love making smash burgers, man, but it will immediately set your smoke alarm off every time you get about halfway through your batch. So
There's nothing you can do. Those
there's nothing you can do
yeah,
about it, man.
yeah.
So I do those outside only. So because you got to see it, like when my smoke alarm goes off, man. I have one cat and she just starts crying.
Oh, she just
She's just like, ow, 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 my ears, you know, kind of thing. You know.
wow.
Yeah. So I just feel bad, you know. So
You know what? I don't like the sound myself. I mean,
nobody
it's,
does.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's meant to be
As
unpleasant.
annoying as possible,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So it is supposed to burn through whatever loss of hearing or hearing aids that you have
Right.
if you're 85 years old.
It's a frequency that you can feel in your teeth.
You
and
can
that's-
definitely feel it in
yeah.
your teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
With good reason.
Yeah.
You know, because if it was pleasant, if it was just like, if it hears smoke, it turns on the radio.
Hey, be real.
Oh shit, the house is on fire. All right.
Shit. I smell something burning in the kitchen. I think it might be the kitchen.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
It's on the radio.
I don't know. I can't think of any other. There was always that dispute. That was always one of the things that people would get into arguments about every place that I worked at early was what the right way was to actually wake up in the morning, right? And so I know that I cannot function. I cannot do the thing that your wife used to do, which was make 13 stops to the.
She still does it.
How?
I don't
man?
know,
Like,
dude. I've got to the point in time I can sleep through her alarm.
How do you know when yours comes up? Is it just a
Mine's-
different sound?
Mine's a different sound, and then I don't know what it is, but I'd say the last like 3-4 years, dude, I wake up about 10 minutes before I'm supposed to wake up.
It's just
Almost
the
without
force.
fail.
Yeah, I
the
know.
force.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I've developed
Just
a new
something,
Jedi
yeah.
power. Yeah.
No, you're not wrong. There's
Yeah.
something to there's some. I'm kind of with you on there. That, like, I think 90%. I don't even need to set alarm. I'd leave it there, just in case. But
I've had a few times where I did not set an alarm and the force failed me. So,
it's happened.
and I hate that. You know, even if it's 1000% true, you go into work while I overslept, you feel terrible. So
it's not a good excuse.
yeah, no, even if it's true. So, but it's like, what are you, 6? You know,
And that's the thing. Yeah, it came to a point where it's like I need to stop lying about this. Where, yes, it's embarrassing, and I just need to call it out because, in turn, I don't want other people making up bullshit when they're late.
no, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, oh yeah, no, I hate it when people lie to me about that stuff. And so,
Because it's stuff where if the excuse that they told you was actually true, you're stuck in the situation saying, well, actually, you should have gone to the hospital first then.
yeah, oh yeah, exactly, yeah.
Is
yeah.
your car okay?
Yeah.
How's the other
do you need a
driver?
ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, oh no, it's all handled. Okay. You know, so
right.
you see the car in the parking lot the next day. It's like, wow, that buffed out fast, huh?
Right. Right.
Real fast, eh?
Real fast.
It was this car, right?
And you got to take it on the chin and say, I overslept and let people make fun of you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a little while since I've done that, but I have done that one. So I'm kind of the same way now. If I'm sick, you know, it's just like, no, I'm not going to work today. I'm sick. So you know, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, we'll talk about it when I come back. You know?
Yeah, there's sort of I think there's sort of a decision that you make at I can't tell you when, but there's sort of a moment in your life where you make a choice where it's I'm either going to be the guy that has taken one sick day in 14 years because the company sent me home.
Nope, that ship sailed. I'm the other guy.
I can't tell you when you make that decision because there's something when you first start working, there's a piece of you that does say I have to be at work no matter what, and there was just something in there where either you take a different lesson from life and say, how many sick days do I have? We'll have like 10. Well,
Right.
I'm sick.
Yeah, I'm sick. Yeah, I have 6 months of sick time built up. So
Yeah, you're special.
I know, it's different, man. But
different,
that's like one of those things where it's just like I don't even take that into consideration anymore. But when I was younger, and you know, especially in jobs where it was just PTO, so you know, which some companies are actually moving away from now. So which is
What's the argument behind that?
Sick time and banking it is just actually it's more efficient. So and then actually having separated vacation time, rather than having one lump sum PTO. I mean, honestly, what it's coming down to is recruiting. So recruiting is getting difficult. So the job market is fucking tight. So and if you're geographically mobile and have, I don't know, nice teeth and actually speak in unbroken sentences, so you're not going to have too much of trouble finding a job right now.
All right, so here's what you and I have had such different experiences into that. I went digging into this, and I think this is why there are certain expectations that I'm saying that you're not. And I think we're both right. It just depends on which lens you're looking at it through.
Okay.
So
what, regarding employment?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a lot of people that, they say, I can't find a job, right? Mm-hmm. And they're right to some extent, right? They're wrong to some other extent, right? So the thing that I was digging into was, where is this disconnect? Because you're right, because there are a lot of things that are saying, like, can you... Actually, they take away the can you. They take down the can you do this. They put up no experience necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Willing to start you at this, and this. But the other thing is that there's a lot of places where my understanding is that there are tons of jobs over there that the recipients, the hiring bodies, HR, because it's online, they get 36,000 applications.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true.
So, and so there are people who... They'll go out there and you'll see them on forums. They'll say, like, I've sent out 100 applications. I haven't heard back
1,000, man. It takes 1,000. You do 10 a day. So, if you're looking for a job, you gotta keep up to pace, because that's exactly the problem.
And that's where that perception of coming. It's like,
absolutely.
No jobs over there?
If you put in for 3 jobs and you strike out 3 times, that doesn't mean there's only 3 fucking jobs out there. I mean,
hey, dude, I get the math.
I know.
But I was like, why are people saying that? Why is the perception like this? And that's
so there's a couple of things. That's part of it. The other thing is that people have. So now I don't believe that Gen Z thing where they had that fucking survey out there that said that they expect like $650,000 or something a year.
That's the definition of success.
I think that was supposed to be it. Somebody fucked up that survey. So, but anyway, well, actually no, it was probably Tucker Carlson. He did it on purpose, but whatever. Anyway,
it could have been a loaded question. But I'll say this: the differences between generations is so staggering. Where the first, if you ask boomers, it's this. If you ask,
there wasn't that much of a step between those 3, nope. And then all of a sudden,
it's a hockey stick around.
So that tells you that you got fucked data. So you done fucked up in your methodology somewhere. But yeah, a lot of them, like, I'll talk to my students, and their expectations are actually pretty modest. They go, we can get a $40,000 or $50,000 year. I was like, after graduating from that, you can get $80,000. You can get $100,000 if you move to the right community. And so, and depending on what line of work that you're willing to go into, if you want to go into sales, you can make that today. Okay.
Oh, it's a tough racket, though.
It is a tough racket, but it's doable. So, and I've seen plenty of people do it, man. If you don't want to do that racket, there are tons of other great gigs out there. So, you're just in specific fields. Nobody's going to hire you as a manager off the fucking street. So,
would you?
No, Lord, no. So, yeah, no. So, I mean, that's why I even tell them, I was like, well, if you find a company that has a management training program, it's because they have a management problem. So, you want to be careful with that. So, if you want to work for a good company as a manager, you get a job at that company doing something that eventually needs to be managed. And then you get really good at that, and then eventually they put you in charge of other people who do that. So there you go. That's how you become a manager.
The only place I've heard that had something like that was successful, it was a theater chain. And it was... Okay. It was because they had so much volume. They needed so many managers, and they needed to set some sort of.
I did have a student who was the manager of the AMC, so and he did go through a program.
That I understand, but I think you're right, especially if you're like.
But he had worked there for like 2 or 3 years, got his degree, and then they bring out, then they let him go into the program. Yeah, and so, I mean, so he wasn't just coming off the street. So, but there are things that do that. So, like you can find. you can find opportunities to go into like restaurant management right off the street. So, because turnover is so fucking high. So, um,
Yeah.
it's terrible. So,
I would hate to be in that business right now. I would hate that for that to be
yeah.
like if I knew it, if I had spent like 14 years of my life in that, where that was my area of expertise, I would hate being in that job.
Yeah, it's the turnover right now with my one contact with the restaurant industry. So my touch point, should say, has been grinding the turnover machine in overdrive.
That's so bad.
I don't know, man. Some of it's like shitty company. Some of it's just like the money's not that great, and you can get better money elsewhere. So a lot of it is just dealing with people. So like not necessarily like customers, but like constantly having to hire and discipline and fire people because that's just the nature of the work. I mean, anybody can sign up on Grubhub now and go make as much as you can serving tables in some places. So then you're kind of your own boss. You log out when you want to.
That being said, I have talked to some surly ass Grubhub drivers.
Really?
Yes, I have.
I don't know how many of them are actually authorized to be in the United States, Jeff.
Well, all right. So there is that. I'm not going to fight you on that one. I mean, so the ones that I've seen that are grumpy about it, they all have that as their second job.
Oh, that I believe. Yeah.
Now, totally understand that, and I one guy asked about it because he works at the grocery store. He just brought it up, and I was asking him about this stuff. And he wasn't. I'm trying to remember the thing that he wasn't grumpy. It wasn't the tips thing, which a lot of people bitch about, like the tips, and a lot of people what they bitch about, and I get it because you're dealing with like the psychological problem that Grubhub creates, where. First off, yes, I understand that if the Whopper is $5 on the menu, it's $6 on Grubhub. So I got it.
That's fine.
Okay, I got it. But then you get to that point where this plus fees plus tax,
it's double.
right? And that's the thing is when you go to the checkout and you see that it's $20, and then you get to the next section and it says actually it's $30,
it's $32,
and then it says how much do you want to tip?
Yeah,
right. I understand that grievance where you say like a person who you probably know the science on this where what are the cutoff points where people see things as like too expensive?
I'm not familiar, but I know there's been research on it.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Where people, for some reason, they'll see like $49.99, totally doable.
Yeah, $50, nope.
Right,
yeah.
Right. I don't know. I feel like I've read a report on it, but I
oh no, all that stuff exists. Yeah, people have been studying that for a long time. I guarantee you, they do it by market, by segment in each market now.
There you go.
Trying to figure out exactly. I mean, like, and that's the thing. Like, Grubhub is one of those things. Well, actually, I don't use that. I use Uber Eats now, I think. Oh,
I use Grubhub because it comes with it's covered with Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
The actual membership cost of it is covered.
Yeah, you're right. That's covered by Amazon Prime. There's another reason why it's because that one's covered by Instacart. So I use Instacart.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. All right.
So, but what was I going with that?
We were talking about the sort of the price barriers.
Oh yeah. So there's got to be some research on that because I noticed like on Instacart they'll say, okay, spend $5 more and you get a coupon, and it's like,
oh yeah,
motherfucker. Yeah. So and it's like or it says spend $35. Here I'm at like $34.52. And it's like, let me back out and see if I can get this again. Let me just get something that's like 50 cents more expensive. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, it was $32.50. It's like, you assholes. You know that I only have 4 items in my cart. So
that's all bullshit.
That was kind of bullshitty. So yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got that all figured out. They've got that all dialed in.
Well, this is the big sticking point they're having right now with games is
the $70 game.
They're trying to say, like, how can we get this to 100? And I just
the GTA 6 is going to do it, man. So
You know what? I've heard arguments that it won't.
Maybe they won't. Yeah, but I mean, if there is a game that I can see on the horizon that'll do it, it'll be that one. So
The argument that I've seen that they won't is how much they made off of GTA Online, where that has been such a as their service, it has just been pumping like cash into their system like crazy, where they're saying we don't have to release this at 100 because this is going to be an evergreen product.
it might be.
And again, there's a lot of companies out there resting their hopes and saying, like, please break the $100 cherry for us. But that's the same side.
Make
it's
better
like,
shit then. You know, I mean, come on. So,
well, that's the thing.
yeah.
Don't expect them to do it. If you think you have a $100 product, go ahead and release it at $100. I mean, it's not like some of you dickheads over there. The funny thing about this is there have been games that have been sort of soft releasing at $100 anyway, where it's base game $60.
Yeah.
Season pass 1, $20.
Skylines 2.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And I bought the whole thing, and that game still fucking sucks. So,
You know, and the thing is, you can't figure that out in 2 hours. Otherwise, I would have refunded the shit out of that game.
you can't figure that out in 2 hours. No.
Yeah.
That's why I went and I watched all his reviews on Civ 7.
What are you...
I was like, nope, I'm out. So,
Okay, I watched a few too. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't like the idea of transitioning, like, different cultures.
The eras.
The era, that's
Yes,
just fucking weird, man. I don't
That seems
want...
so antithetical.
Yeah, I don't want Egyptian Tokugawa fucking Americans, you know.
Or the fucking appetizer menu at Chili's.
You got West Egyptian Tokugawa teriyaki.
What's the Egyptian Teriyaki
Yeah,
Springrolls? Yeah.
Springrolls, yeah. No, so I don't like that. It looks jank as fuck. So, and there's definitely some parts of it where it's like, why would you do that way? You know, I was watching this guy, he's an exploiter kind of guy, go through it.
Okay.
And he made this fucking Roman legion that attacked better than any tank in the game. So he was just like, if you go in here and you actually take a look at how some of these buffs stack, I can make these guys have swords and they're gonna murder this tank army over here, and they did. And it's kind of like, really, you guys didn't play this that much, did you?
All right. Now hold on. There is, to be fair, one of the hallmarks of Civ, at least the old Civ, was their essential, like their probability, their D20 system. It never goes to zero. There was the point where a militia,
yeah, or you would lose your battleship to a settler. Yes,
correct.
That did happen. You were like, goddamn, but you just understood that was just bad luck. This guy was not. I mean, the way that the combat values work is you can see the actual combat value, and then you can watch them fight, just like you kind of could in Civ Revolution. So kind of the same way.
yeah.
And then of course you start tearing them down and things like that, and then they have to replenish and whatnot. This guy had this legion that was so OP'd because he had taken all these civilizational bonuses that were related not just to his Civ, but also his leader. And so I was like, oh, so I can use the
Which does transcend eras too.
Right, so that guy doesn't die. So you're basically ruled by a god king. Got it. So, but it was just like, you could just tell that, like, all right, so that would be something I would totally try in that game. So I'd be like, oh, okay, so I can take a look at some of these things, and we can sit here and do the math on this, and they'll see if I can do this. It took him about 5 fucking minutes to sit down and figure out. He's like, this thing's going to kick everything's ass.
That is, okay, that's...
Yeah.
Number one, if you're a playtester on that, you should be ashamed. That should have been
These are people who didn't actually play any of other versions of Civ, man. So,
that should have been caught immediately.
Should have been caught right away.
I will say, so the thing that I did like about it was... So one of my complaints here, and this is something that could have been adjusted, years ago with just like a sprite change or something like this, was, if you have a number 22 city, right, versus like a 5 city, in the old style, it was just one square.
Yeah.
Right? It was just one square, and that could have been... I did like with the way that the layout, that the way that the actual metropolis spreads, and it becomes part of the game, is the size of the city is now something that is a defensible thing. That's where the size works with you, works against you. I was like, okay, you know what?
That
This
was
is
pretty
kind of
cool.
cool.
Yeah, that was a neat
makes sense.
mechanic.
It's the liability of getting, you know, bigger and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, that's cool. But yeah, everything that the era system just makes no sense to me. It's too, like I said, it's antithetical to this
You play as
idea.
a civilization, you know.
Yeah.
What it is it's just these dorks who actually, like, you know, get on their version of whatever Reddit that they're getting in touch with the devs on that one, and then, you know, or their marketing team or something like that, and say all the players want to be able to do all the things with all the other things. So it's like, so we're building like Civ Legos now, so, you know, and then, you know, well, that's the only thing we can do that's different, so that's what we're going to do. So
I can't speak to all of this because I haven't had much experience with it, but somebody said that they were trying to essentially spill some Paradox games into Civ. Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know them all that well.
Well, you played CK2. So.
Yeah, but I don't know like the war games. I don't know
it's kind of like that. There's pieces
Europa,
of it that are in there.
Universalis and
I never
stuff.
played EU4. I hear it's really good, but it was like I didn't have the bandwidth to be able to play that a while ago when I used to watch guys.
When I was looking at Stellaris, I'm like, I don't.
I did the same thing. I was like, no, I'm good. I kind of wanted to try the Victoria one for a bit. I do have it. It was only I found it. It was like on sale for like $5 once, but it's a Paradox game. You open it up and it's got itty bitty teeny tiny little fucking text. So and then there's the tooltips are, you know, in the font size of like .2. So you know. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah. So even though I really want to do some imperialism on some people, you know.
That is a rough thing, Patrick, because I'm with you. There is part of me that absolutely says, start up one of those games and put in the time.
Right.
But I also don't want to put in the time.
I don't want to.
This is the bizarre. It's the conundrum. I can look at it and say, this is the perfect thing for me to do right now. It requires no reflexes.
I was thinking about that with Space Marine, and then I saw that $70 fucking price tag. So,
Dude,
like, never mind, wave off. So,
but
it looks like Doom without the parkour, which is kind of what I want to play.
Well, it's multiplayer. I mean, it's
it's
co-op.
Yeah. Oh, it's co-op.
Yeah, you can play co-op up to teams of 3.
Well, let's wait a little bit and see.
Well, this is the problem.
It's not doing full retail.
The reason it's $70 is because
Warhammer.
Well, no, because it's selling.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if you and I wanted to, we could get Dragon Age the Veilguard for a very discounted price right now.
I don't really want to play that.
I don't want to play Dragon Age the Veilguard. Right. You know what? Nobody does. Actually, no, that's not true.
That's why
Kotaku wants to play it.
Kotaku wants to get. They could buy all 50 million copies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. It ain't going to be me.
No. Mm-mm. No, actually, I mean, you and I were talking about it the other day, so I actually went back and I started up a game of Valheim. So, just for funsies.
Wow.
Yeah. I like the game, man. It's just pretty. It's kind of.
I was gonna say,
it's very chill. So, yeah, I mean,
you start fucking around, huh?
I started fucking around. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna build a little fort. I'm gonna make fire. I'm gonna go stab a boar. So, I'm gonna go run away from these skeletons. You know?
Oh, so you started up with nothing. You're just your naked self.
Naked.
Okay.
Yep. Naked and afraid. So.
All right.
And blonde. Yeah.
That's true.
It's the only game I've ever seen with a blondness slide.
The game doesn't. I don't recall Valheim being one of those games that likes to pretend that. Well, actually,
you got transgender Vikings.
No transgender Vikings. They're not going with the myth that, Norway was actually settled by West Africans.
No, yeah. But I was just looking through some of my stuff, and I was like, fuck, we were talking about this the other day. Let me fire this up. So I was actually having some fun with that yesterday.
Well, I mean, you mentioned this, too. I when they announced Ninja Gaiden 4, they actually released the black version, basically like the perfect version of Ninja Gaiden 2. And I dove right back into that. And so I've been playing that like crazy. It's there are people that, again, I don't blame them. It's one of those type of games like if you're into Elden Ring or Dark Souls or stuff like that, that's cool. You're just as likely to hate it.
Yeah.
You do what you...
No. That game is still like $60. So,
Yeah, because it's still selling. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So Elden Ring.
That's the trick of it is if you the more quality game you make, the longer you get to keep it at full price.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, especially if it hits just right too. So
I mean, I can pick on I think Civ 7 is going to be on sale soon. I understand it.
I'd almost guarantee it.
Look,
It's been getting roasted on its Steam reviews. So.
yeah, and so it hasn't been getting like busted the fuck up in terms of like the sales aren't great, but they're not awful.
No.
But it's also you're talking about something that should be a straight up slam dunk,
You'd think.
right?
Yeah. I mean, Civ 6 has been around for what, 7-8 years now?
Right.
Yeah.
It should be a slam dunk. People should be at a fever pitch to want to play the new one, either because they like the last one or they want to see changes.
Yeah, no, I decidedly did not like the last one, so.
It just didn't work for me.
Yeah, no. That was the one where you had to, oh, this is an industrial zone. This is a commercial zone. It's like, this is fucking Civilization, not Sim City. Stop this. You know?
Right. If I if I want to play Zone Simulator 2025, I own that game,
I have that game.
and it's this was the funny one, Pat. So I know that you're a little bit more meticulous about play game, uninstall game, play game,
Oh, yeah.
uninstall game. Well, I didn't do that. Anything that I felt that I was going to come back to, I always leave on there. And so, if you go over there into the library graveyard on Steam, you got
It's got tombstones.
well. So that's the thing is you have the grayed out names because you own it, but they're gone.
Yeah.
Right. That with us, but not with us no more. Right.
You can download them again, but
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
But you said I'm not going to play it right now. I can reinstall it. Versus, there's a chance I'm going to want to jump right into it. City Skylines is lit up. City Skylines 2
Is not.
is grayed out.
It's graveyard. It's been stoned.
It is boneyarded. It is
boneyarded. I like that.
I would ask you this. So that being said, after the experience of Cities 2, right? And here's the thing: I have not seen this yet. I have not seen a mea culpa from these guys where it said, "Hey, listen, we thought this didn't work out, etc., etc., etc." Right? If they came out there and released a Cities 3 like next year, would you jump in because you're like, I think these guys realized what they did?
Well,
Or
they
would you
haven't
say,
done the mea culpa, so no. Yeah, I mean, like, man, I mean, like the YouTube community around Skylines is enormous, okay? And there are some,
I've never looked into it.
there are some fucking heavy duty creators out there, and I'd say about half of them are still playing Skylines 1, or they've gone to play like Civ or Manor Lords or something else, but they got to mix up their lineup because Skylines 2 is just broke dick. So and you can't do. I mean, you can do some of the things that you used to be able to do, and some of the new things are really cool, like building parking lots and stuff like that. But the actual like the guts behind the game are terrible. I mean, it's just it is the urban planners preaching this. Like fucking
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So, like, eat this pie. What's it taste like? Ass. It's like, I don't like ass pies. Like, we're gonna like this one. So,
but when I went to Steam, it didn't say Ass Pie 2025.
2025. So,
But the problem is you sold me Ass Pie.
you told me ass pie. You did not tell me what it was before.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. I pre-ordered, and what I should have done was gone to the store, turn around and look at the label. It says top ingredient ass.
Ass.
Yeah, I got it.
So,
Well, and the other thing too is you and I were in the same position where when we bought it, there was a component of maybe I just don't get it because there was. To be fair, like City Skylines 1, there was a lot of things where I was bouncing this off. He's like, why doesn't this work, Patrick? And you'd like send something back, like, try this. Say, all right, I tried this, but try this, right? There was a lot of experimentation.
there was a lot of experimentation.
With that. So I figured that might be the phase that we were going through. But then...
Well, and you did a lot faster than I did, but I certainly, I was also in the situation where I was kind of like, well, maybe it's just hard. You know, because like hard to me is that like games, if they're really hard, then I do get kind of stuck in a loop. You know, so but then after a little while, I was like, actually, no, it's broken.
Oh, yeah.
This should not be doing that. Why is this fucking dump, this trailer park across the street from the actual dump worth like $10 billion? You know. So,
Yeah,
what do you
weird
mean you
things.
guys don't like my services? You know, I mean, and then the same thing. You just constantly go bankrupt. You know, because people bitch about things.
Unless.
Unless you don't build a city, you basically build a junction point for fucking, you know, like a transportation hub. So yeah, I get that, man.
Well, again, this is the issue that you and I we talked about in the last one, in the last game, where the more what's the phrase is like the more you stipulate, like the closer the more analogous you get to reality, the more you have to stipulate on, right?
Yeah.
And so there were things that you and I talked about where when we'd take a trip somewhere, we'd fly over somewhere, right? And we'd look at the cities below us and say,
yeah.
why can't I put that in my city? It's like,
Yeah.
why does a diagonal street ruin everything? But all of these cities seem to have one.
Yeah.
And there were certain things that we said, like, all right, I wish there was a little bit more city in the city building, but I get what they're going for, and you have to kind of draw that line. And I guess the thought that I was having was, I was hoping that the second one would have more of that organic
Right.
component to it, but it had less.
It had less. Yeah.
Yeah,
which
it
was
had
crazy.
less.
Yeah. So, because even like building a college, it's like, oh, here's a giant ploppable building. So, and it's like, okay, do I have to build two of them? Yeah, kind of thing. And it's like, no, you can add this little addition on there. And it's like, okay,
So neat idea,
neat idea.
but
But, you know, like in Skylines 1, I had the university expansion pack, and it was fun. I mean, eventually you'd be like, okay, we need to build a school. So we can plan out a chunk of land, plan out your infrastructure, stuff like that, and then you know, put down little pieces at a time as you can afford them. It wasn't just ka-chunka, you know. Yeah.
well, and the other component of this is, how can you have a system in place where, look, universities, again, here's the same thing, is if I'm going to actually place the first national American university, right, the one, and it's going to be the size of the Ghostbusters firehouse, because this is, you know, I'm doing this with, I open this building with a bad loan, exorbitant,
yeah.
like
But it's got
loan
a
rate.
fire pole.
Yeah.
This place is cool. Can we spend the night? You know?
So you have this, you have this system in the game where they figured out, so like certain things you do, like parks and stuff, they're going to be rated 1 to 5 scale. They're going to grow depending on what you do with it. Right. So if you place a university, if you place National American University, right, you should, I mean, the university, like the place over here in our city, right? It was a teeny little place. I don't want to say it was big, you know, when we
No,
got
but it
there.
grew. Yeah.
But now it's an institution. It's a straight up,
Yep.
right? Where, okay, over time it grows depending on how you care for it, depending on if you like the zone for the area. If you just like in that game, you couldn't make a 5-star park if you just squared off a tiny little area.
No, you had to
Right.
build like yeah. I mean, you could get it pretty high, but I mean, eventually it would have to be covered with like carousels and fucking shit. And,
You needed
know,
room. Yeah.
And it didn't look like what you wanted it to look like. So yeah, you know.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is like, but you've then taken that away and say like, well, something that should grow organically because of what you do to the land in the area is something where you've said, actually no, just plop down a building, plop down an extension, plop down. I was like,
Right, yeah.
and the component of that which made sense was anything that you can like place to add value, like say like a parking lot, that makes sense.
That does make sense.
And that's the thing that should grow. The so the base like the base schools and universities in cities one, no city of 70,000 people needs 4
Right,
universities.
yeah. And 2 football teams, yeah. See, and that was one thing that they actually did right in SimCity 4 was
I think their scale number was way more close to.
yeah, but what they did was, remember, because you could click on little individual dudes, right?
Yeah, right.
But what they did was like for every one of those guys that was modeled, there was like 5 more that would show up on your population.
Yeah.
And they could have easily done that in Skylines. So
It's just the scale. Yeah, it's just
scale.
yeah.
So they just
You're right.
Yeah, they're like, we're not gonna do that for whatever reason.
The funny thing is, I don't know how to fix it. Like the
Skylines too. I don't know.
you have to take the formula.
Something, man. You got to strip it down to parts. You know.
Well, first thing you have to do is say, why does this run like shit on everybody's
machine? Yes.
Don't try to fucking gaslight me and say City Skylines 2 is the game that should have me looking at like, should I sell some of my teeth for a 5080?
Right. Sell some of your teeth, you know?
Dude.
Yeah.
It's, on that too, like, I gotta tell you, like the performance ups on those things they weren't really that, they weren't killing it as far as I was looking at in terms of, I understand that the prices that they set where they say like, oh no, you get the 5070 for like $749 or something. It's like, good fucking luck.
Yeah,
like if you go right there,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
But for the performance bump, it's just not. It wasn't.
It wasn't even that, man. I gotta tell you, of all the city builders I played over the year, that one absolutely hands down shipped with the crappiest maps. So it was like, come on, dude, that is a slam dunk.
I think you're right.
You know, they were the worst. So, you know,
city building maps are. I think if you and I sat down with paper and pencil, you and I could actually draw out the 10 that should come with every city building game.
Yeah.
You should have one that's called Two Rivers. You should have one that's called
Ocean Bay. Yeah.
You should have one that's called Flatland. You should have that's basically like the tutorial.
Foothills. Yeah. Come on, man. This isn't hard, guys.
This is a
river meets ocean.
This isn't our first rodeo. I mean, I think they really did try to reinvent the wheel on that one, and I don't know.
And whoever did like their American house models was terrible. So I mean, did you see it was like a Cubist in rendition of fucking Trailer Park. So it was like, dude, get on Google Earth, man. So there's one in every town in America. Free. Yeah, it's free.
Well,
so
I'm liking that too. So
you couldn't call it America; it had to be North America. Right. It was like, fuck off. So go make a Canada pack.
Exactly. It's like, no, let me show you what the houses look like in Mexico City, where the Chihuahuas live on the roofs.
These are not even the same. Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. It reminds me of. So if you go back to when the first explorers started making it to the New World, and they had met the natives there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They returned back to Europe, and they would tell people stories about the natives. Now, the thing is, the natives that lived here looked nothing like people in Europe.
Right.
So their only frame of of reference was people from Europe. And you see these illustrations of basically white guys like carving out the hearts of, it was like, this is not,
that's not them. That's not them.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And to me, that's a little bit of like City Skylines is, so you've heard stories about Americans.
Done some interpretive dance classes, huh? Came from America. I got it. Yeah.
So somebody that visited America told you stories about what American houses look like.
Right.
I see. I understand.
Yeah, it's clear to me now.
Just
they did get, and see, the thing is they got like the brownstones right.
Oh, those look so good.
Those look great,
cool.
you know. Yeah. But then, like, you look at this other one that says suburban house. It's like, my ass. So that's a Koreshian compound.
Oh my god! I know. I mean, you don't even need to go to Google Maps. Just seriously, just the easiest thing to do in the world. I think it's actually easier than this. Is go to Zillow and then type in any American city. Like, if you're curious, you're like, wow, do the houses in Boston look different than the houses in Los Angeles? Let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and look for some houses. I'm going to click on them. Now I can look on the inside of them too.
Yeah.
Do these Americans value having yards? Are these, it's a little bit silly.
It is a little silly. I mean, but in theory, they could recover and, do a Skylines 3. Here's the next project that I bet you somebody's going to do when it comes to city builders. Someone's going to make one that's actually got a timeline. So, like, you start out in 1850, you got fucking horses and stuff running around.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get to, like, Jetsons cars. So...
Yeah. I could see that too. You just call it like 200 years. That's the...
Yeah, and at the end, guess what? You died of extreme old age. Congratulations.
Yada, yada, yada. Don't pass the Great Seal.
Don't pass the Great Seal,
Yeah.
So, I'd really like to see my ring again.
Oh, my God. Oh, dude, what's the rest of your week been like?
Oh, not too much, man. I haven't been like watching too much in the news lately, except for all the USAID aid stuff, which is hilarious. So,
I agree.
Yeah, that thing is going to get burnt to the ground. I think it already has been.
Yes. There is one thing out there that. There is a very dangerous game being played right now. And that is, there are a number of activist judges who are willing to stick their name out and say, I am going to stand in the way of this.
Yeah.
And the big problem with this here is people always forget this. They always forget, all right, the shoe will be on the other foot eventually.
Well, it's not even that. I mean... Well, you did have the one guy say, okay, fine, I got the argument, so it's fine. So whatever his blight ban was lifted. That might have been the buyout one.
Yeah, it was.
Then there's another lady in, like, Washington or something like that that's blocking something, and there's another one, I think maybe in Boston, something. It's blocking something. But, so, like... That's going to go to the Supreme Court. Okay, and the Supreme Court's going to say, no, a single judge in a single jurisdiction cannot stop federal policy. Okay, and so they're going to lose that power to be able to do that.
Right.
So, because, I mean, that'll be a 9-0 ruling. Because it'd be like, bitches, that's what we do. So it's going to happen, man. And so, they're going to lose that. They're going to lose that arrow in their quiver. And here's the thing is, even if they don't do it, it doesn't really matter because, Musk and Doge, minus Vivek Ramaswamy, are out there just basically going about 1 million miles a minute. And, like, okay, fine, I guess we're going to do the Pentagon next. Fine, okay. So I guarantee you're going to find some $25,000 toilet seats. Whatever. We've known that forever. Yeah, that's fine. And things like that. But eventually, like, he's still got some confirmations to go through. And, then we're going to find out what's been going on with the FBI. So, that shoe's going to drop. And then, eventually they're going to have to get to Treasury, too. So, and see exactly what's going on with the IRS.
They're in the IRS.
I'm sure they are. Of all the places I don't expect to see that much come from, the IRS would be one of them. I think you're going to see a lot more come from the Pentagon stuff.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So here's where, we talked about this a little bit ago. Here's where we sort of missed the boat. Well, not the boat, but the prediction where I did not expect all of those people to get sworn in. I did not expect...
No, I didn't either. Yeah, I thought for sure. And I mean, Bernie was doing some gyrating over Tulsi there. And Mitch McConnell was the only guy who voted against her. So, on the Republican side.
He was the only guy that voted against RFK, too.
Oh, yeah, RFK as well. Yeah.
Got them both.
They got them both. I was kind of surprised. Now, there's like a couple reasons for that. that I've heard that are actually pretty good.
Oh, what's this?
Well, they didn't. So they took a shot at Hegseth and missed. Okay, and so I think for most of the time they said, okay, well, we're going to try and get one of these three, but they went kind of all in on Hegseth. But then he had a great confirmation, and that wasn't that was his hearing. That's in committee. So that's where they go talk, and stuff like that. That's not actually their confirmation. That's just the hearing. But he did such a great job on that one that they're like, okay, you guys, how many rocks you guys have left to throw? And the answer was none. So after that,
Well, would you say that their victory then on that side was that they managed to get Matt Gaetz out of there? They managed to scare him off.
Yeah, that was. I bet you Donald Trump probably scared him off, but we don't know. That book hasn't been written yet, and so.
Well, I mean, you can look at Matt Gaetz's face and say they dug up something on you.
Yeah, you're definitely guilty.
I mean,
is of what?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. There are dudes that you give the verbal pat down to, and it's like, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you are clean all the way through, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
You did something.
Yeah.
You can't look like you and not have done something.
Well, and now he's out of Congress, and so it's kind of like, well, what the fuck is he going to do now? So
they're trying to plant him somewhere, but I don't remember where.
They were doing something with like a. What is it? It was almost like going back into media or something like that.
Yeah, but that's that job's already been taken. That's the two other people he got planted of Carrie Lake and Christy Noem.
Yeah, no, Christy Noem is
she's
the Secretary of Fatherland Security.
Yeah.
So Carrie Lake got exiled to the Voice of America. That is such a weak ass consolation prize.
You remember? So you remember the first episode of Futurama where where Philip J. Fry gets sent to the future, and the one thing he doesn't want to be is a delivery boy.
He gets to be a delivery boy, yeah.
Right? And so Carrie Lake,
I don't want to be a reporter. Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
It's like you got frozen to 1,000 years in the future. All right, that's
cool. So I think Donald Trump probably got a little bit lucky on that, the Matt Gaetz thing for sure. I don't know how much of a hand he had in that. I wouldn't be. I don't think there's very much that goes on in his administration without his approval, with the exception of what Hegseth was saying about NATO the other day. So
what?
Well, you see, like he went out there. He's like, "There's not going to be any troops. There's not going to be any, admission to Ukraine into NATO and stuff like that." And the very next day, Marco Rubio and JD Vance went out and walked that back. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's because he actually he was like, "Yeah, so the boss is going to come negotiate with you. He's holding two kings." So the boss was like, "Motherfucker, I didn't back in the box, bro."
Wow. Okay, I didn't catch that. Yeah. I thought.
Well, I mean, watching JD Vance basically scold all of the EU the other day was hilarious.
Jesus Christ, that was amazing,
dude. They didn't clap. It was the most awkward thing. If you actually watch the video to the end of his speech, there's like one guy's like, "Ah!" and he's like, "Oh."
I mean, there are some people. All right, so that you can look at it. There are some dudes that are furious. They're not like flipping middle fingers, but they're doing the thing where I can see you breathing. Right, they're doing some of this, and there's a couple of dudes in there that are just kind of like looking at their shoes. They're like,
there are a couple guys.
It's like, this is embarrassing. But I saw that one. Great speech.
Thunberg line was great. That was so good.
I can't remember.
If you can put up with 10 years of being scolded by Greta Thunberg, you can put up with a couple months of Elon Musk. So, it was funny. So, he did not take any prisoners, man. But they did ask him about that. They said, well, what about upcoming talks on Ukraine? He's like, yes, the U.S. will be involved. Yes, we're not ruling out the involvement of U.S. troops, and we're not talking about NATO until we cross that bridge. So he completely walked back just about everything that Hegseth had said the day before. So,
Well, this is the weird thing is I keep getting
So did Rubio. So
the reports I keep getting are different. Where supposedly the negotiation, Trump is going to be negotiating with Putin separately.
Yeah, I did see that.
Zelensky said he wouldn't hold anything that was negotiated without him there. But
I wouldn't blame him on that.
But it also sounded like what he was planning to do was meet with Zelensky separately.
I think that's probably his plan. So, I mean, he's got to go break the ice with Putin. So,
Yeah.
and so, okay, then they're going to go do that, I think, on Wednesday this week in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
But then, yeah, Marco Rubio and Rubio today was saying that, yes, the Europeans and Ukrainians, of course, will be involved in the peace process, just not at this stage. So it was like, okay, that makes sense, I don't know. We'll see how much if it works out, man. So I really hope it does. So,
you know what?
I'm not terribly optimistic though, man, because I really don't think Putin wants it. So,
here's the weird thing, man. It is such a bizarre thing right now to see. There are people sort of quietly rooting against it, just because who's in the seat right now.
Oh, Donald Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, of course there are.
It's
including a lot of turds in the State Department, man. So
let's talk about that.
You're just gonna go burn down your USAID, buddy. So you're next, dude.
Hey, frankly, one of the funniest fucking things I saw was somebody posted the search results in Washington D.C. Did you see this shit?
No. Let me guess though. So it had to do something with buyout options or something.
No.
Oh.
No. The search results were like 1,000% higher on defense lawyer. I shit you not. Like offshore money.
Right? Yeah, because you just Google that.
I shit you not. The actual results. I'm like. And this was specifically in Washington, D.C. And here's the chart. It shows like flat, boom.
Dude, I totally believe it, man. I know, we've talked about this a few times, but, these nonprofits, man. So, not realizing that, basically the State Department's been using USAID as basically a off-the-books CIA.
Ridiculous.
So it's crazy, man.
Ridiculous.
So, yeah. So, and it's just like, okay. Burn that down, please. So,
Well, here's the other thing. This was the other thing that we sort of like. I had a little bit more optimism for it. I know that in the beginning you were just kind of like, I don't think they're going to get much out of this Doge thing. Now,
I don't know how much they're going to get out of it. There's a lot of follow-up that needs to happen.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll
but
see.
There are a couple of things that, number one, exposure is step number one.
It is absolutely working.
And there is
working beautifully.
This is the funny thing that they go any reputable source where they say, how is the president doing? He's
pretty good.
He's actually, these are his highest numbers in either term.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So there's a lot of people that are saying, this is the other shit. You go to Reddit, I should know. There are so many threads that are like, I spoke to Republicans and they regret their votes.
I have spoken to many Republicans. I have not heard that from a single one of them.
No. This is some old made up shit. This is the same thing where...
dude, I know Democrats are actually kind of relieved. So,
this is again. If you believe in the finding the grift in the system, right? And you all should, right? We should all be aiming for transparency in the government. We believe this on both sides, right? We both believe that the government should be transparent. If you see people that are actually digging out the fucking grift, now you can argue, you can say oh, about this firing everybody stuff. I'm like, well, okay, that's something you could debate, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That's absolutely it. But finding the sources of this ain't right, and then you see things where you say this money going to Somalia, is this attached to anyone in particular? I believe so.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit where you look at this and say yes, you are ripping off the system. And here's the thing, is anybody in the United States that looks at this and says, I didn't stamp this. This is not what I think we should be spending money on. Has every right to be upset
of course.
about.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Right?
I agree with that. Foreign aid, it is a small thing. So,
But how many small things add up?
Not enough.
In the big
So
system.
what I'm really curious about is once they actually get to Medicare. So we're gonna they're gonna take a real hard look at Medicare fraud. So
What is they said something about Medicare
Dude,
fraud
there-
the other
there
day,
are-
but I
there
can't
are-
remember.
there are, I mean, if you ask just like anybody who actually is adjacent or worked in the healthcare system,
Yeah.
Medicare is such a pain in the ass, and it requires. Well, first of all, of course it's good for seniors, right? Okay, so
Right.
got to insure the old. So this is a great way to do it and stuff like that. But there is so much like Medicare payments that go overseas, okay, for treatments and stuff like that. There are, overbillings in Medicare. There are all kinds of different, so most of your doctors are pretty straight up and providers are pretty straight up, and, they try and, but the system's difficult to deal with. And so there's a lot of ways to cut corners on it. So, and so there's just a lot of fraud in it, man. And Medicaid too. So, it's like hilarious. You drive around town and you see all these Medicaid wagons now that are for MedRide or MedShare. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Those don't even, you can't, I can't get one of those for my mom. Okay.
Why not?
Because she's on Medicare. So Medicaid is for poor people. So that thing is almost as big as Medicare. And it is a fucking grift, dude. So, because now I'm going to speak a little bit nicely about it because I've had some friends over the years who are
Sure.
extremely
Yeah.
poor and they would have lost a child, if they hadn't had Medicaid. So that's fine. But Medicaid it's turned into a form of insurance out there that actually it works kind of like welfare for a lot of people. It keeps you off the system. So, and if you stay poor enough, you qualify for it, so you don't have any incentive to go out there and be not poor. So, I've heard people for 10 years throwing rocks at that thing. So I didn't realize it was $868 billion. That's bigger than the Department of Defense. So there you go. Oh, and I have to issue an apology to the TSA.
Why?
The TSA is not bigger than the Marine Corps, okay? The Department of Fatherland Security is bigger than the Marine Corps, so I was wrong.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
TSA.
now that being said, all right, so to flip that around, where does the TSA fit in terms of like big entities?
It's pretty big. So it's got like 65, 70,000 employees. So it's pretty big. The Marine Corps has got somewhere around 200,000. So,
Okay.
but if you take everybody in the Department of Fatherland Security, which is...
How big is
It is
that?
enormous, dude. It is like the biggest agency besides the Department of Defense. So
That is absurd.
it's got everything. It's got the Coast Guard. It's got the Secret Service in it. It's got fucking
Does it incorporate the
TSA,
ATF and stuff like
the
that too?
ATF, and then there's they're all border security guys. So it is an enormous fucking beast of an agency. So they just took all the things that George W. Bush liked and put them in one box.
You gotta keep those separate, man. It's just like- no, man, that's the thing.
Whites and colors, man.
No, I'm sorry. Like, I get it, and this is George Bush, so it's like, look, man, I know that you're gonna have like the dinosaurs fight the humans, but you put them in separate boxes when they're done.
Right, yeah.
If you need dinosaurs, you don't just take them all and just throw them in the same thing.
Box, yeah.
Right.
So you're going to be looking for that, and I'm not going to help you.
You're correct, because you're gonna look at this and be like, what do we got in there? It's like,
Where are my dinosaurs?
yeah.
This one's just people.
We deployed the dinosaurs to Mexico.
Right. Yeah.
They fight cartels.
So anyway, we'll see if Doge actually chews through DHS. I hope so. But I don't know. And that's the other thing that's kind of dropped off the radar is deportations, man. So that would
It most certainly has not.
Well, it's dropped off my main radar. So, in terms of like, the guys actually showing up on the news every day saying that, hey, we just shipped off another plane load to here and a plane load to there. So has it just become routine now?
That's part of it.
Okay.
So the thing is, all right, there's two things that are happening as a result that are making people sort of ask questions, and they're absolutely right. So the first component is it really depends on where you live. How badly are you seeing this? Because there are parts of New York that have become ghost towns, right?
Oh, really?
Straight up ghost towns because
Like the city?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
because these are the places where this is where it causes so many questions to pop up. Like there are there are places where it's deserted. Okay, because either A, guys have been taken, or B, they're in hiding.
They left. Yeah.
Or they've left.
Yeah,
right. These things are all happening, and now, so the component of this that's coming out then is the people remaining in the bodegas and stuff. They're saying, oh, we can't hire people. We may have to shut down for this.
That I would believe. Yeah.
Here's the problem: is this is where the total shitbird hypocrisy of this comes in, where they're saying like, all right, well, so what you're telling me here is that this, I know you advocate them because you're trying to say this is some kind of act of mercy, right? But you're saying that this dude will lose his bodega because he cannot hire people on the legal, right?
That means his bodega does not make enough money to be a bodega.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
though,
no, I got you.
Keeping that local flavor in there has been kept alive by this. They said there are 400,000 illegal aliens that, in the New York area.
What the really?
Yes, 400,000. And that's the thing is, so if you couldn't, that's where it's like this house of cards, the liberal house of cards in these cities is being propped up by this unpaid, basically underpaid, not served, labor.
Well,
right?
and then you just wait till harvest season. You're going to start seeing Nebraska scream bloody murder too.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. And this is the whole component of this is you're like, so to what end have you guys been propping this up?
A lot.
If you're doing this, then it has prevented you from making the necessary social changes, right? And you're doing it at the expense of this underclass, right? But presenting this as some sort of, like I said, act of mercy.
No, it's serfdom is what it is.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, no, I get that, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've known people who didn't have papers, and it's like, well, what do you got to get them, figure that out, because otherwise, you're going to be bouncing all around the place over the years, and who knows where you're going to wind up, but you're never going to be able to, you're never going to be able to settle,
Correct.
And so that's really important, because then at that point in time, and I mean, I've had tons of students over the years come in over on student visas and stuff like that, and then eventually get their green card and whatnot. They don't have to worry about that shit, So, but then, and not so much, I don't see it in the schools, but definitely when I worked, in Denver for the airline, I mean, all of our cleaning crews.
Oh yeah.
Because they didn't park the planes in the SIDA area, so.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. That's. Yeah, and people are taking advantage of that kind of shit.
Totally taking advantage of that. And I mean, it's the same thing. Like South Park had that hilarious episode a couple of weeks ago where Randy couldn't get anybody to install his fucking, insulated floor. So, because he go over to the Home Depot now and it's everybody looking to hire people.
Yeah.
Not get hired. Yeah, so it's going to have some wicked effects, man. It's going to be kind of a nutso ride. So, you already saw it last week. There's a little bump in inflation. That's going to get worse. So, and I'm fine with that. So everybody else bitches about, inflation, and I get that and stuff like that. But if you want Americans to make more money, then pay them. So,
that's exactly it. You cannot use this class of people,
right?
I mean, it is so, like you said, it's served up. It's so exploitative, right?
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
but it just the sickening component of disguising that as compassion is just disgraceful.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Democrats for years are the ones who've been fighting E-Verify for that very reason. So, and then
you have been, to your credit, you have been pounding that drum for quite some time.
Sorry, man. I mean, nobody cares about it. It's just my thing. It's like, wait a minute, you got 5 guys working here. I should be able to pull up your sheet and see that I got 5 guys who are authorized to be in the United States. Well, these numbers should equal.
How's it? Well, yeah, that's sort of it. Is if you go to, again, to go back to applying for jobs, right? They will ask you questions.
How the fuck are you going to get through the I-9 process?
Well,
you're never.
It's on top of that is they will verify that information.
Absolutely.
You say do you have any writing experience? You're like, well, I wrote it. Right? They will.
Never mind, we're good.
They're not just going to take your word for it. It's like, okay, right?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
But when you get down to the other shit, they're like,
I directed Schindler's List.
Did you? All right, but yeah, there's this thing where it's like, all right, so you get to that, and then you get to those questions there where it's like, there is a point where it's like, are you a U.S. citizen, or are you this? Or
Yeah,
this?
you're not like it's. Are you
legally
authorized? Are you legally authorized to work in the United States? Yeah.
If you click yes, there should be something they can say. All right, well, I can verify that then.
Well, they do. So I mean, because you fill out the I-9, and then of course goes off to INS, and if they say we don't have this guy, then they come looking for him. So that's how that works. So.
And so if you're not getting it, that's what I'm saying is
But this is like, if you own a bodega, okay, where 4 different languages are spoken, and you have a guy who's willing to work for $5 cash a day.
Yeah.
This is why cash jobs fucking suck. And if you're a business and if you pay people in cash, you deserve this. You deserve this part where you're about to lose your business or you're about to expand your working hours to all.
You're not wrong, man. Again, this is why you've been tooting that horn correctly for quite some time. And
small business is a big part of the problem, man. It really is. They are not guiltless in this.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. And again, you can't. But that's the thing is you can't legitimately make reforms until you actually have the problems out there on the table. Like if you have the means to say like. They're going to raise minimum wage in my state. It's like, but I'm not going to raise the minimum wages for my guys.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell them, if you bitch about it some more, I will call ICE on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
that sort of shit right there.
Or raise your prices and eat it. I mean, come on, man.
And then that's the component of this here where you say like, all right, so we've talked about the food situation where Big Macs are like $5, right? Big Mac should never be $5 unless that is, and McDonald's has to verify their work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it's a humongous corporation, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying is they have to verify their workers. Yeah. But if you are artificially pushing this down, you say like
you're cheating. You deserve to get caught. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. And I'm fine with paying $6 for a Big Mac if it means the guys out there behind the counter actually make a decent wage.
Thank you.
I'm totally cool with that.
Yes.
I was the same way with like eggs and meat and milk. It's like that money goes to U.S. farmers. We don't import fucking beef from China. So
that is correct. Now
get it from Nebraska, man.
What I didn't know again about the eggs here was I did not know that like a month before leaving office, like what was it, like 1 million chickens were slaughtered because of bird flu.
Bird flu, yeah.
And they're like, so the memes are like, these eggs aren't any cheaper. Like,
they're not gonna be. Yeah.
Well, no. So that's the thing is I didn't go to like the trust. Like I don't get to spawn 1 million chickens.
No. If you're mad about that, go talk to KFC. Tell them to shut down for a couple of weekends. There you go. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you don't want to give up your nuggies. Got it, man. So
I don't either. I'm willing to pay a little bit extra for
I'm fine
nuggets
with it.
because I love nuggies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just there are just the dumbest arguments right now.
There's a lot of silliness going on, man. So and then the same thing. Like I'm still curious about tariffs. I've actually seen some good arguments for them lately that I'm kind of like that might work. That'd be interesting. I don't know if it's going to work though.
What am I missing? Okay, so give me the pros cons that you've seen, because most of what I've been seeing, like for the most part, is bluffs.
I think that he's been trying to do a lot of bluffing with some of them, but not on some of the big things. So he slapped another 25% on steel and aluminum, which is a big fucking deal. So
and that prevented the sale of U.S. steel to.
Yeah, So I tried looking at that deal. From what I understand is both sides of that deal actually wanted it to happen. And Donald Trump kind of walked in here and says, you can't sell this to the Japanese. They own Nakatomi Plaza. Anyway, something like that. I don't know. I didn't go into it deep enough.
All right.
My understanding is actually going to cost a lot of people their jobs in U.S. steel plants. Because they have to, there's new minimum wage laws and stuff like that regarding their inputs, or something. So I don't know. I didn't, like I said, I got about 5 minutes in the article. I was like, I give up. I don't care. So I don't live in Cleveland. So Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And you never will.
No, I don't plan on it. So,
Like, I can't even think of if the University of Southern Cleveland called you, right?
yeah, I'm going to make you dean of everything. No.
Dean of everything. Well, that is the job I put in for.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I got that monogram.
You made the shirts before you applied.
So,
All right, but what is this? What were the counterpoints on the tariff side here?
well, of course, the counterpoints are free trade is good, and that results in cheap goods. The counterpoints on this one, and so that's just a universal good in its own right. Okay, so you can get more stuff for less things. That's good. Okay. The counterpoint, and I was actually, Mark Blythe actually showed up out of nowhere the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I hadn't seen his liberal ass in quite a while, man. So, he's still banging his carbon tax drum and whatnot, but
That is his boner.
it is kind of his boner, yeah. So, but anyway, he had a really decent analysis about this, where he was, again, I don't agree with all his policy recommendations, but I think his analysis is pretty spot on. It's like, well, look at this country. So we don't build anything anymore. Okay. So, and then you hear that a lot, but that's not just houses and things like that. We don't actually make that much stuff anymore. And so I say, what are the top two employers in the United States? It's Walmart and Amazon. It's like, if those are your two biggest employers in the country and they're based upon like how narrow of a margin can we actually operate with and still turn a profit? It's like, that's not a recipe for long-term success. And so he actually went into the original tariffs that go back to, the 1800s and things like that. And what it did was it basically built, the manufacturing industrial base after the Civil War and up to World War II. And, all the prosperity in the 50s and 60s were basically due to the fact that if you bought a car, it was made here. If you bought a TV, it might suck and you might need a note on it, but it was made here, So maybe that's where we're going to go back to. So that'd be interesting, man. Like I said, I've seen people like on both sides, like, my God, we're doomed. So I don't know, man. But I'm curious to see if he starts doing that on big industrial, like heavy industry, like aluminum, steel, stuff like that. They did exempt like Canadian oil, so which was kind of a cop out.
Kind of a puss move.
Yeah, it kind of was, man.
Because it's the one thing that you have.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was also like, why? I mean, we have Texas.
Okay, so I can speak a little bit to this.
Okay.
A little bit to this. So, oil is not oil. Not all oil is the same.
Right.
Right?
My understanding is that Canadian oil is particularly thick.
So, here's the thing, is there are things that West Texas Intermediate is good for. There are things that Canadian oil is good for. Okay. And we need both. I'm just going to put it that way. Right?
So they exempted that. So Canada seemed to like run away anyway.
Canada needs. Here's the thing: is all right. So Canada, here's the trick: is I like you in a position where I like you a little bit scrappy. I like you a little bit not complacent over here. Where here's the thing: your fucking tapeworms should always feel in danger of getting evicted, of getting. They can't get comfortable, right? Can't get That's the thing, is you cannot let Canadian tapeworms be an institution. And I think in a lot of ways they have. They're like, look, these are the things where, because if you look at the trade imbalances and the numbers they put up against us, like for certain things like milk and all this other shit, you're like, these are way the fuck off.
Well, and that's because, they try and protect their local industry. And so that's exactly what we're trying to do. It just realizes that, the United States has basically been a sucker to the world for the last 70 years.
Yes.
In some respects. And finally, it's gotten to the point in time where it's like, well, shit, we can't all work at Walmart.
But that's where we're going.
I don't know. I bet that's saturated, but still at the same point in time, I mean, the rise of quote unquote bullshit jobs. We all have plenty of those to, go around. So, whereas, and this is the funny thing is it's not really going to result in new jobs because like new factories, they're going to be like these dark factories. Have you heard of those? So
I've heard of gray factories, but I imagine this is probably the same thing.
Probably. So the dark factory, the whole idea behind it is this legit factory that produces a lot of things without any lights on it because it got no fucking people in it. So, so it's all done with robots.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
something else. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not like gray fleet Russian ships like selling, crude on the Mediterranean.
Yeah, I was
That's not the
I was thinking about something completely different where they do pop up, they do produce things, they do have people in them, but it's not traditional and it's not for the purposes of exactly like 100% like I don't want to say illegal,
Right.
but sort of semi-legal shit.
Semi-legal.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is not that. These are just factories that are so highly automated they actually don't need light bulbs in them. And so,
That's fine.
yeah, that's fine.
That's totally fine.
That's fine.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, you still need guys to come in there, do the production schedule, maintain the machines, do the books, all kinds of different things.
Absolutely.
So,
you know what?
yeah.
And that's a job too.
That's a great
That's
job.
the thing is when you build these factories, you're also going to need electricians. You're also going to need. I mean, this is the stuff.
You're going to need people to actually build them too, which is the hardest. I mean, dude, that is the one place right now, like on
construction.
on my LinkedIn page. Oh my god, dude, I have people hitting me, recruiters hitting me. It's like, do you have anybody who's got any project management experience in construction or engineering? I'm like, I'll look. So, but usually when recruiters start banging on my door, that's kind of like, whoa.
How many people have you asked before me?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, you came way down here to Albuquerque. Huh? Yeah. You're supposed to turn a left back there. Yeah. So,
No, I get it. Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's not. It's that same thing where people like still they're bitching about AI. They're still bitching about automation and stuff like this. Like, guys,
AI is gonna be fine. I'm
Dude.
not worried about it at all.
no. Again, the more time I spend with it, the more that I learn about it. I'm like, yes, this will actually create more
A
jobs
lot more jobs.
than you think.
Yeah, it will. It'll be just fine.
I mean, this is the fucking thing where like, oh, that's right. The calculator put math out of business. Don't need no math anymore. Just
Right. Yeah. No math needed. Yeah.
this is ridiculous. I mean, again, I have seen one of the things I've been spending time with actually is I have been looking at people's conception basically from where they start with art, like what they can do with a pencil and pen and what the AI art can do for them.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Right? Now, I'm talking about people that basically look, you and I aren't pros, but we also know our way around a tool or not.
Yeah.
And you're looking at people that comparatively, like between you and I, you don't want to be too critical, but you're like, you look at somebody's drawings, you're like, you're an adult? It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, so you have no hands, no feet, and you drew this with your butt, right? I'm like, and you see, and I'm like, I'm not picking on you guys, but I mean, like, comparatively, like, when you,
This with your butt.
dude, fuck, like, because the thing is, you and I have also seen people that are 2 levels ahead of wherever
Oh,
we got
fuck
to.
yeah. Oh,
You see-
yeah.
where you see a dude drawing, like, on this wall, and it takes him 2 afternoons to basically draw a photorealistic eyeball the size of, like, a garbage can lid, and it's indistinguishable from the real thing. You're like, how the fuck did
Yeah, I
you
always
do
see
this?
that too.
Incredible. I've seen people do things where they like paint negative space, flip it around, and it's like, this is crazy. I saw a dude that actually he painted in photo negative colors.
Oh, brutal.
So awesome. So that
Yeah.
when you put the actual black light on it, it turns the regular shade. I'm like, this is fucking
That's
cool.
clever.
How do you see that
Yeah.
with your eye? I'm like, but to see the conceptual differences that's actually making for other people, to me, it was the same kind of thing where, all right, if you were deaf and you had something here that helped you hear to be able to compose music,
Yeah.
would you stamp this out and say like, no,
No. Yeah, no.
unacceptable?
Unacceptable. Yeah.
It's like, this is ridiculous. This person is not artistically gifted in that way, but they're producing. I was like, this is...
I mean, there's a lot of applications like that is just like, no, that actually opens more doors for people.
way more doors.
But you find that there's a lot of gatekeepers out there. Like I saw one the other day was, like whenever you have like, the president is speaking and you have the sign language people
Oh, yeah.
off to the side. Everybody's like, there was this whole like AI rendition of just hands.
Oh,
That was way better, because you don't see someone just like flapping their arms around like crazy. you know, and stuff like that. And so, and I mean, which is fine, but I mean, I know people who do who do ASL and stuff like that. There is a voice to it, but some of the I don't know what it is, but if you're like on the national stage on that, you are, I mean, like, you're all over the place compared to the guy who's actually doing the evening news. You know, yeah. Right. So, and I never quite got that, but it was really tastefully done. So, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, you know. But of course, like, oh, you know, ASL, blah blah blah. It's like closed captioning already kills you guys. You know, come on.
Guys, I've done the closed caption. I've done that job.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing too is I always, every now and then you will see a person doing, you know, ASL, and every now and then something will come out of the mouth of the speaker, and there's nothing funnier than seeing an ASL person just turn to that guy and be like, what?
Yeah.
You see the hand stop moving? It's like,
yeah.
That happened to Trump once. I can't remember what the fuck he said, because every now and then he does get that. He gets caught in the boot loop where you have to.
Somehow block him for 60 seconds, let him cool down.
Well, I mean, sometimes his train of thought, you do have to hit F8 at startup and go to the BIOS, because he will sometimes just keep circling in this area where it's not getting any clearer. Once he gets past that, he seems to be okay, right? But it seems like he's just thinking for the right word. I'm like, buddy, soil. The word you're looking for is soil.
Yeah, I've seen him do that
move
too.
on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I saw the sign language interpreter just like, she keeps wanting to go, and then she's like, get on with it. That was cracking me up. But yeah, that's the thing is the same thing is like the machine's going to need to study you. There's going to be a part. You're going to be a component of this in a different capacity. It's just like, yeah, we've talked about this before. It's frustrating. It's
I don't know, man. I just don't like the doomerism that's going on with it. It's like everybody thinks it's going to turn into T2, and it's like, no. So
it doesn't work that way.
That's not how it works, man. If you get around and play around with it a little bit, you find out really quickly it's not dangerous or anything. In fact, sometimes it's quite stupid. So yeah. Yeah.
Arm wrestling it to answer a question. Like, I do like. Don't get me wrong.
That's a good way to get it. You do arm wrestling.
You do arm wrestling, and there are some times where, a lot of the times, what I see people do with AI is they try to corner it, and basically they're talking to it like a hostile witness. Where, you know what I'm talking about? We're like, you're like, listen, I don't want any commentary. I don't want any bullshit. What is the average IQ in Rwanda? Just a number. Right?
No.
It's like, I don't want you to sit there and say, like, well, you know, IQ is measured differently across the world, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. I'm going to treat you as hostile.
Hostile.
In a number.
Yeah.
Just a number.
I need the yes
only
or no.
number you can give me is a number.
Yeah.
Right?
But see, that's the hilarious thing about it, man. I mean, when I've queued it up about things that I actually know something about, you can see the predictiveness of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, okay, it'll barf up a number that's close, but you're not going to get the actual number. So, you know.
Well, because you can ask it afterwards, like, where'd you get that information?
Right. So, well, yeah, and I'll ask it, hey, cite your sources, you know, on this, or hey, can you provide me with some sources for your answer? Stuff like I still talk to it like a person, which is kind of weird.
You know what?
So I can't help it though.
It's funny is when you train that stuff, they actually have taken a step away to get it from answering that way too.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because it's I've complained about this before. So when I was doing like social media stuff with T-Mobile, right? They had this thing like when people wrote in, regardless of what their attitude was, right? And regardless of what you knew about the English language, if somebody came in there and said, like, I can't get any fucking reception in my fucking basement, fuck you, right? Your whole thing was, instead of jumping in like a human being who knows the language, you're like, hey, what's up, dog? You know, listen, man, I know that's a real heartbreaker. It's like, send us a DM here, we'll go ahead and smooth this shit out, right? You know, whatever. It's just like, talk like you're 15. Right? And so AI used to have this thing where it tried to, like, match this, like, hey, man, I'm glad you asked. You know, that's a great question. It's like, no, answer the question. Answer the question. Take the human aspect that you're putting into it. That irritates people.
Yeah, it does.
And they're right.
Yeah.
They're right. So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. That's
I guess I didn't think about it that way. So there
well,
we go.
it's stupid because when you program, when you train this stuff, it's going to give you the answer. Like the smartest thing I've seen recently, I was like, I have never thought about this, but this is I've done this in life now, and it works. There's this guy. I do not know how this came across my YouTube feed, but there was this dude that basically said like, stop trying to de-escalate situations as soon as they come to you. It's like, be reflexive. Like if so, and the way he says it is like, if somebody comes up to me and like something is blown up, it's like, can you believe the fucking post office did this? It's like, don't tell them to calm down, right? Actually jump up to their level and then walk it down. I was like, I never thought about it like that.
I worked baggage service so long. That's exactly what you do. The last thing you want to do is apologize right off the bat. So, and try and get somebody to, climb down off of
Training sessions will have you do that every time, man. So
I know, man.
About your experience.
I never had any training on that. I just had to learn it on my own. And one thing that I would do right off the bat is just you take a minute or two to actually listen to somebody, let them vent a little bit. Don't try and tamp them down. Just soak it up, and then most of the time that 30 seconds of that, and you're right where you want to be, man. So,
Well, that was
they're like, I'm sorry, I'm taking this out on you. It's like, no, it's okay. I mean, you paid us a lot of money. We want to make sure you get your things when you get here,
Well,
So,
it wasn't even that. It was saying that you meet them up there. They're upset. You join them at upset.
let's see, I wouldn't do that. So,
And it's not as though you're, again, it's not that you're actually upset. It's that you come up there. It's like you join them. They're like upset. And it's like, well, you have every right to be upset. All right, well,
yeah, see, that's
what are we going to do? I was like, all right, cool. I get you. How are we going to fix this? Right? Because that's the thing is the first, when they talk about, again, when you talk about misused words, right? I would say that empathy is at the top of that list.
empathy is pretty far up there.
Right, because people don't understand what that actually means, right? And I understand the textbook definition of it is sharing the feelings of the person that you're talking about here. It has been twisted where they say like, oh, you have no empathy in politics. Like, yeah,
It
I
means
do.
you're an asshole. Yeah, I get it.
Well, it means that
It's a shortcut word for that now.
it's a shortcut word of saying that the perpetrator's feelings matter more than the victim's.
Right.
Right? And in that same thing where when they teach you empathy in customer service, it's like, listen, I understand how you feel. I'm sorry about the situation. I understand
Yeah,
how you
but
feel.
if you're not
Like, no.
genuine about it, then
That's what I'm
it's not
talking
gonna
about
help.
is empathy. But
Well, I mean, empathy is really useful in a lot of cases, but it should be reserved for people who are close to you. So not every jack who walks in your fucking store every single day, so or whatever. So
well, there's a phrase out there
so
that says, if you only have one smile to give, don't give it to a stranger.
oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to button this.
Okay, well, yeah, you get the little rainbow out. Of it. Yeah, so you're good. Anyway, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hit the button.
There you go.